Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Good.
Thank God
It's
is fabulous.
fabulous.
Welcome to another presentation of Thank God is Fabulous. I'm Welda Paley,
And I'm Fasia Hilton.
and tonight our topic is on male nurses. For a long time, nurses had this myth that nursing was a female career. Can you imagine that? Well, getting ready for this show, we had to do some research about male nurses and come to find out this is a male profession that we only got involved in the mid 19th century. Whereas back in 250 BC, men were doing everything. They were taking care of the troops, they were taking care of the dead, they were doing everything nursing. We were nowhere to be found. We were housewives and raising the kids. But guess what? Soon as we jump on board, we claim it. This is a nursing profession. And everywhere it was like, oh, my nurse is a woman, a nurse is a woman. And then when men came back to take what is rightfully theirs, we were like, this is a female career. No, it was not. It was a male career.
Yes.
And over the years, men has been doing it. But we came in and we like, all right, let's take over. And then we had this myth because any nurse that you ask, or female nurse, will say, oh, nursing is a female dominant career, is mostly nurses, as if it belongs to us. But just finding this out today, I was a little bit crushed. And I'm like, wow, we got to go find something else to claim because this is sure not ours for claiming. But today, I have two nurses with me that are males. One is an up-and-coming nurse. He's a male. And one is a seasoned nurse. So today, we will get to hear from them. How do they feel about this profession? How do they feel being in it? What are some of the disadvantages that they had to face, being a male nurse? How people perceive them? Because it's a serious stereotype. So today we're going to hear the truth, and we're going to hear it from our host on the show tonight. And another thing, we found out about the pay.
Yes. Well, that is no hidden secret. Male nurses are always paid more than the female nurses. That is just a given. Even if you are a seasoned nurse, as a female, the male, they have the upper hand. So kudos to you guys. I don't know if I should say kudos, but I mean, it is what it is.
And for a minute there, I was like, why are they making more money than us? This is our stuff. Why are they going to bring men into it and just start giving them more money? But the fact remains is theirs. We're just hopping on.
That was a shock to me when we found that out, that male,
yes,
they were
yes, it was a male dominant profession
a long time ago.
Oh, I'm just so heartbroken today, but I think I will live with it.
But I think it is still known as a female's profession, because there are so many females in this profession more than males. Maybe that could be the reason why they are being paid more, because there's a shortage for male nurses. But I think they will be able to speak on that and give us their perception.
I know. Oh, well, I'm just going to come in studios now with my heartbreak and keep thinking about it. Because trust me, all my nursing career, this is what I knew. So I've been living an actual lie. And I just found out the truth a while now. Coming for this show, I just went and did research. And I don't know whether to say I'm disappointed. I don't know whether to say that, wow, it blew me away, because that was not what's out in the world. That is not the perception out there. So when a guy say, oh, I'm going to do nursing, it's like, that's a female thing. Why you want to do it? Well, I just want to clarify for all of us who had that notion, it's a myth.
It is a myth. Yes.
And we found the truth. 250 BC, before Christ, men were nurses. They were the one doing all the cares we are doing today. We just came around when Florence Nightingale came into the picture and she started helping the wounded soldier. She just took it to another level. And then women started to be part of it. So whatever it is that you've been thinking, clear your minds.
Yeah,
Get
so
back to the reality. So at this time, I'm going to bring into studio the first of our two guests tonight, Mr. Tobias, and we will give him an opportunity to introduce his. Tobias, you're so welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I know. Did you hear the myth that we found out?
Yes, I heard it.
did you know that was that you guys were in the profession before we even got into it?
I actually didn't.
I know, because I mean we've all been telling this lie. Oh, it's a female thing. It's a female
Right.
thing. I guess we just wanted to have something.
Right,
Oh
right.
God. All right, let me go ahead and bring in our next guest, and then we will ask your questions, and then both of you can chime in as we go. Our next guest is Adam, Mr. Foley. Check your mic. Your mic is muted.
Sorry, I'm an amateur with the podcast. Nice to meet you all. Happy to be here. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Adam. So, you know, I'm a little bit heartbroken today. I found out what we've been claiming all these years is really not ours. Now we have to give it back. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, that's news to me as well.
Yes.
You know, it's interesting.
So now they have something to run with. This was never your profession to begin with.
Yeah. So let's start with you, Tobias. Tell us, why did you choose nursing? Why did you go into that career field?
Well, it was kind of an easy decision for me. I wish I had made it earlier in my life, being as though my dad was a nurse.
Okay.
And my dad pretty much been a nurse ever since before I was born.
Okay.
So, you know, I basically just ended up falling in line. And then, you know, my stepmother was a nurse, or she's still working as a nurse.
Okay.
And my mom worked in the medical field. My little sister is in the medical field. So, you know, I just come from that bloodline.
I wonder what y'all discussed dinner time. Did you?
I've heard crazy stories. Trust me.
I know. Because all the stories in nursing are fascinating.
So, you know, and my dad really pretty much caught that flack of being, you know, ridiculed for being a man and wanting to be a nurse, seeing as though this was like the early 70s.
Yeah.
When he made the decision to be a nurse. So he got a lot more flack than I did. I pretty much didn't get any because by the time I made that decision, it was, you know, it was well known that nursing is a
not
good,
gender specific. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's just a good career, you know, to have. Yeah. So, you know, it was an easy decision for me in the end.
Okay.
When everything else I thought I wanted didn't work.
I like that. Yeah. I like that. I wanted to be ain't working. I want to do this. Oh no, ain't working. I can take this one.
Yeah.
That's so nice. That's so nice. So Adam, tell us a little bit about you and why nursing.
Okay, so I'm a second degree student right now. So it's called non-traditional, and my story is kind of very non-traditional in the sense that I originally went to school for business finance. Then I transitioned to IT. I did that for about 10 years. I'm an older entry to it, but healthcare has always been the main interest of mine. It's just that life led me down a different path initially. So I worked as a caregiver when I was going through undergrad, you know, non-medical caregiver provider. So I had exposure to that early on, and I've always gotten the most reward out of caring for others, being of service to others. So I got to a point in my life where I had accumulated all my prerequisite courses for a medical career. And I had a traumatic back injury somewhere along that line working as an EMT. So I worked as an EMT for a couple of years as well. And that kind of changed my perspective. And it was when I had nurses caring for me at that level that I really saw, the value, the service that they bring to others. And that kind of solidified it. And another thing is I recently had my first daughter was born, and the experience I had in the labor and delivery with my wife and just how amazing they were and the level of care they provided. I got a chance to pick their brains about, different careers in nursing. And I decided at that point, I'm not going to go through this life without pursuing what I really originally wanted to do. I applied to a accelerated program and got in, and, it's been a roller coaster since then, but I'm really enjoying it, and awesome. I know I'm in the right place, and I'm happy to be here, part of the nursing community. So.
Okay. So Adam, what area of nursing do you want to go in, since you have a vast background, with IT and all that?
Yeah, I had been chipping away at my science classes, and I took everything as prerequisites. I originally was considering, PA school. It was on the table. So I took my organic chems, my microbiology, all the gen chems, and did really well in them and got, the GPA that I was aiming for. Because my undergrad originally in business was not too stellar. It was younger and not really ready for that commitment. So with age, I think you get some benefits where you're more disciplined and more determined, focused. So I used that and one by one, knock those out. And so part of that was accumulating healthcare experience hours as an EMT, be a stronger candidate whatever direction I decided to go to. So I really like emergency medicine. I always have. I always gravitated towards, care. And as of right now, this might change moving forward, but I'm still really drawn to critical care. And I recently had a observation experience in the ICU, and that really resonated with me. I like that environment. So my plans are to go critical care, after I graduate. And I'm open to other options, but right now it's emergency or critical care.
Okay. Wow. And you would think that because he's into IT, he will go for informatics.
Yeah, that's why I asked him, with the business and all that.
I've had enough of IT for one lifetime. So I'm happy to leave
one lifetime, huh?
But that is the beauty of nursing, that you can go.
Yeah, but I still get called to fix all my relatives' computers, and so I'll never really escape it.
Yes, you ain't gonna escape it. Yeah. Once they know you can't, we coming at you. Yeah.
So Tobias, the same question to you. What area you think you?
Well, right now I'm 2 feet into memory care now. I just recently left corrections and went basically full-time memory care at 2 different locations. And that's just where I'm at right now. And I really don't know what the future holds as far as what area of nursing that I want to go to, but for now it's memory care.
Okay.
And the new job I just started, initially they offered me the DON position, but I respectfully declined. Just
why is that? Why you decline?
I don't think I'm ready.
Okay.
I don't think I'm ready, and my confidence really isn't there. But now I just basically learned today that they're going to offer me the memory care director, because the place that I work at, they have assisted living and a memory care unit. So, and I'm currently working on the memory care unit side, and they're going to offer me the memory care director position, which the person currently holding the position is not a nurse, in which they want a nurse to have that position. So she's resigning. Her last day is May 5th. So It's gonna come soon.
Yep, can't escape it now.
Right.
But I
Right.
think that's very nice. You know, a lot of times nurses will never think we're ready. You will never feel ready, but you know you're
Right.
ready, but you just don't feel like
Right.
you're ready. You know,
Right.
and if you step out, everything is learning on the job. And over
Right.
time, before you know it, you full flesh, whatever it is
Yeah.
position you took. And
Right.
it can be scary because you start thinking in your mind, they will need me to do this. I don't know what to do. They will need me to do this. I don't know what to do. I don't think I'm ready.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So in order to take the position, I'm gonna have to leave my full-time job, and I know they're not gonna be happy about that. But they're gonna have to offer me. It's a salary position. They're gonna have to offer me enough in order for me to leave. So
When it
that's
comes
where I'm
down to
at.
the wire, bring the money.
Speaking
Right.
of salary, what is your take? Because as we all know, male nurses are paid more than female nurses. What is your take on that? Do you think it's true? Do you?
Not in my experience, because I would say most of the female nurses I worked around been RNs, and
Okay, so because of the job title, who they
correct.
are, so okay, I can
Right.
understand that. I
And
understand.
then one of my close friends who whom I work with at Express Scripts, which is a mail order pharmacy, you know, she had experience before Express Scripts, and I had experience, and I know for a fact that they were paying her more than me,
Okay.
and we were both LPN, so I can't really,
Oh, okay.
you know, in my experience, I can't really say that that's true or not true. So,
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
you know,
Okay. Well, for a fact, we found that out too.
mm-hmm,
And my heart was broken again.
mm-hmm,
That yes, the male counterpart in nursing make at least 10,000 to at least 5,000 more than the females.
mm.
It's a male world.
Okay, so how do you guys feel about that?
It hurts because the fact that this was before we found out that this position was a male position before females came and took over. I was upset.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is our thing. And now that men are joining it, they're going to pay them more than us. And then I found out the other side. So I don't know. I think I'll take that back and be content.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's right. I think, you know, if we have the same experience, I think we should be paid equally, the same. Even though there's more females than
But guess what? Guess what we do on the shift? When there is a patient who is very heavy, don't we be asking for them to give that to the male patient because he have more strength to move that patient around than the female?
Yes, but there are situations where there's no male and there's two females doing it, and we can do it. We've done it before.
Yeah, we do.
So
that's a tough one.
yes.
Well, out of now that you found out that you're going to be making more than your female counterpart, how does that make you feel?
As you mentioned, I don't think it's fair. I think if you're in the same role with the same experience, no matter what profession you're in, it should be equitable across the board. You know, you're both showing up, doing the same job, putting in the same effort.
Exactly.
So that's only fair. I know in IT, there's actually it was a Cisco certified network analyst. That role recently, women started to really gravitate towards that, and as of recently, it's the women are earning more in that role. So I wonder if it has anything to do with trying to, you know, draw more people of the opposite gender to that position, or if it's just how it happens to work out. But regardless, you know, yeah, it should be equal no matter, you know, what your sex is. So,
yeah, it could. You know, now that you've said it, maybe it's a way of drawing more male to the profession.
Yeah, and for a minute there, we didn't have a lot of males coming into the profession. I mean, people would down talk you. If you're a male wanted to be a nurse, they will start to say slack to you. So yeah, I guess that would be a way to draw the men too, by giving them a little bit more to have them, because we need everybody on board.
Yeah.
So
especially nowadays,
yes,
we're all familiar with the shortage of
yes,
nurses. And it has a lot to do with the lack of clinical sites and education availability to meet that demand.
Yes.
So I think we should all, and for Tobias, when you got that offer, the best time to negotiate your salary is before you say yes. So
yes,
push him on that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I think we're all in high demand now, and the service that we provide is a necessary one, and I believe that we should all be compensated to the appropriate order, regardless of your sex, as long as your experience and your qualifications are the same. It's only fair.
All right, let me ask you, the two of you. Now, we are both Africans. We're from West Africa. So in our culture, with the male, when we try to encourage them to go into nursing, it's like a taboo for most. I mean, there are some African nurses, but male nurses. But for the most part, most of them see nursing as a female career. And they're like, I don't want to go in there. That's a woman's world, a female's world. Is it the same in amongst your friends? Is that the same process?
Not really. A lot of my friends are envious of me.
You always got to be with the girls, huh?
You better know it. Yeah, so I don't have those type of problems.
Now, how Tobias, since you are in the field, how would you if you there are some female patients that when a male goes in the room, they don't want a male nurse. Have you experienced that, and how do you take it?
Absolutely, I've experienced it, and I understand. I don't take it to heart. I turn around and leave.
Like somebody else gonna do this job anyway.
Yeah, I don't take it personal. Because in some situations I'll be more comfortable with a man, myself doing certain things, so I understand. I empathize, with that train of thought. So I don't have a problem.
Okay. Adam, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I've experienced the same thing, both in as an EMT and as a nursing student now. And like Tobias said, it's at the end of the day, it's the patient's preference, and I respect that. And like you said, there may be some certain procedures or that I'd be more comfortable with a male. And we're put the patient-centered care first, so you can't take that personally. It's just comes with the role. So yeah, you just be tactful about it. Anticipate that it might be an issue. Ask them their preference. Appear, environment for them that you can. So that's all you can do.
Yes. So let me ask this question, because I know for a fact there's a big difference when we teach. We forget that we have male students and we teach it a certain kind of way that to me it doesn't appeal to both genders. Have you noticed that difference while you were in school?
Not necessarily in the teaching side of it. I tend to people watch and observe is just baseline. So I'm always looking at cues of different people naturally. But I think the way the male nurses interact is a bit different. But as males, we typically interact with each other differently than women do. But as far as the experience I've had so far with the teaching side of it, I feel like it's been very, very level, very balanced, in the approach as far as, non-gender specific, yeah.
What's about you, Tobias?
Well, I had absolutely zero male instructors when I was in the nursing program. But the instructors that I did have, they pretty much all knew my dad. So for me, it was almost like sometimes I got special treatment just because my dad was well known in the field in our area. So, it's just a gender thing, because when I first started the program, it was 43 students, 4 males, and I was the only black male. So it was it definitely created, it was different. It was politics.
Can you break it down for us, because we have viewers in Africa watching the show too, but some things you just can't explain unless the person who went through it explained to us.
Right.
So
they basically, I was allowed to get away with certain things that other female students wasn't.
Okay.
Just as far as, not really as far as grades or the work. It was just, I was allowed to act a certain way.
Okay.
And they just kind of
brush it off.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just think it was, related to a lot, just me being a man in a woman dominated field.
Okay.
So I mean, it wasn't a terrible experience, I'll tell you that.
because sometimes when we have to do certain skills, the student have to partner up, and like you have to check the chest and things. You can't go check it on top of clothes. Well, if there's only male in the class and the rest of female, now the male feels a certain type of way, going to check that female, and like that. How have that been?
No, we had dummies. We wasn't touching each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now that's a whole different act right there. Using just the dummy to learn, other than using a real person.
Right.
Because I notice it in my classes sometimes when I got male students and I got a lot of female students, and now they're supposed to do certain skills where they need to check the stethoscope on the female and put it in certain position. The guys be standing there like, I ain't got no partner. But there are females everywhere, but they feel they don't have a partner, because I don't know how they be thinking. I don't know how they be feeling. But we got to say, this person don't have a partner too. Pair up with them. And they reluctantly go there, to do the skill.
How you feel about that, Adam? Did you have to go through that?
Yeah, I actually did. And we use dummies for, obviously the like catheter insertion and, type that invasive stuff that would obviously be inappropriate to do that with a live partner. But so for like the head to toe assessment, the final round of that for testing, I had to do that with a female cohort. And I guess that you could sense there's a bit of apprehension, but at the end of the day, I mean, you're going to be going into a field where you have to be comfortable with male and female. And the assignments were, supposed to be random, but I got paired up frequently with female students. And maybe it's being that I'm a second degree, where probably a bit more life experience or a little bit more mature. Wasn't really an issue. And if it's something that is an issue, you're going to have to get over that at the end of the day anyway. So I think it's important to learn that skill. If it's something you're lacking in, that comfort level, before you get out and you're practicing. So
that is so true that you said that. That is so true that you said that. You have to get over it. Whatever it is, you have to get over it. And sometimes when we're teaching, say we're talking about putting Foley in, we get to the female part and we just teach it.
Yeah.
Forgetting to know that there are male students in the class who doesn't know that, don't know that anatomy like we know it, but we just teach it. To me, like, like everybody here is a male, the female, and
when you get out in real life, the anatomy that you see on a dummy is
It's not the
totally
yes,
different.
it's not the same. It's
Right.
not the same. And it's like, what? You know, because I know I who are female, the first time I ever had to put a catheter in, I had to go to the bathroom and check it out to come back and do it. Because I'm like, no, this ain't what they say it is. You know, even though you do anatomy and physiology, it's not the same when you get to the real humans.
Right.
So most time in my mind as an instructor, I always try to make that clear for my male students, just because I know how it made me feel as the female doing with it, you know. So I've always been cautious of that. When I have male students, I take my time with certain things that, you know, is mostly female kind of thing. I would, you know, take my time to let them understand it, because I just feel it's different. You know, it's different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Adam, this question is going to be to you since you are a student. I've heard, and to you too, Professor, that NCLEX is revamping their questions, the way how they do the questions. So all of the NCLEX had been all multiple choice, and now there's going to be some drop down. You know, I think that's where you will have to choose many options. You know, many choices. What is your take on it? How do you feel about that?
So yeah, I'm aware of the next gen questions, they call them, the NG questions.
NG.
Yeah, and the materials I've been using, some of the study resources are incorporating those already, you know, thankfully. And I believe I'll be the second cohort or group to go through that process. So I'm hoping to find out from some.
His time can just start in April 27, 28.
With the new NCLEX.
The new people.
Oh, wow.
But in my experience, it's the multiple choice is what I'm most familiar with, you know, going through like SATs, you know, the GRE, all that. And in my experience, the menus on the side that you have, they'll go through a few series of questions about a patient, like during intake, and you go through the labs, you know, vitals, how they presented, and you answer a couple of questions accordingly. And then it'll roll right into the next, you know, now it's, you know, it starts at 8 a.m. Now it's, you know.
The next scenario comes up.
And these are the new set of vitals after treatment was administered. And then it'll go again, and up to, I think the most was like 6 times where this evolves. So I think it's a better gauge of your but it's can be a bit anxiety inducing, you know, because you have to cycle back between multiple menus of, you know, presentation, vitals, labs, medications. So it's challenging, but I don't think it's anything that you can't, you know, study for and get used to. And also coming up now, we're provided the reference range, which
which we never had.
Right. So that's I think you should know them anyway, but I guess that's one plus to the new version of the test. We got that. And also for the select all that apply, I believe they're giving you partial credit for ones you get correct.
Thank God.
And students have advocated for that for a long time.
Yes.
Among my peers, the SATA questions are probably the most despised out of them all. You know, just because, and now they have like up to 9 or 10 options. So your potential to get one wrong grows like exponentially with every one they add. But it's just a matter of doing it enough and getting comfortable with it. And I plan to, you know, just repeat until I get comfortable. It's
so true. And it brings out a lot of critical thinking, because now you got all the data. You got to put the data together and find out exactly what you need to solve the problem. To me, I think it's way too easy. That's how I feel. Because remember, half of those things is what we were thinking. We didn't see it. We had to put it together in our mind. If this is this, then this must be this. What if this is this? And then they said, don't read into the question, because we didn't have those choices. But now there's no reason to read into it. You just go read what they gave you.
And for me personally, I like the physiology and, you know, pathophysiology, the understanding of it. So I believe, depending on your learning style or, you know, how you're more comfortable, it may benefit you or it may work against you.
Yes.
But for me personally, especially coming from the EMT background, you're assessing patients, you know, it should be in your nature, you know, it should be, you know, something that you're comfortable with and that you can flow with. So if you know what you're doing, then, you know, it shouldn't be an issue.
So true.
Exactly. That's
So
the
true.
key. If you
So
know what
true.
you're doing, once you've prepared yourself, it shouldn't be a problem.
So true.
Right.
So true. So another question that's a little bit controversial, and I'm going to ask you, and you'll tell me your take on it. We heard from the Florida situation that they got nurses who passed the boards, but were never in school enough to get the credentials that they are now applying for and passing the boards. And these nurses are working in the field. How do you feel about that?
Did you guys hear about
first?
Uh-uh.
Oh, you missed.
So there were nurses in Florida that basically paid for the diploma, never sat in a classroom. And this is alleged. Okay, so there's still investigation going on, but it's federal. It's a federal case, and so it was accused that these nurses. Well, I guess it's not alleged. It's true because they were dismissed by the Board of Nursing in whatever state they were in, and had to be excused from their various positions at whatever facilities they were working at. But basically they bought their diploma, which is wrong, but they sat for the nursing board and passed.
And they passed the boards.
The boards. Now let me give my take on it. I think it's wrong all across the board. That should not have happened, because then it puts a damper on our profession, because who have done it the right way, there were many sleepless nights. I can attest to that. I'm speaking for myself. There were many sleepless nights. I had to work full time and go to school full time, so which is not recommended, but you have to do what you have to do. So, and we go to school and go through this and take the boards, but here are people that did not do any of that, but they were fortunate enough to pass the boards, and they're working. I think what the state board did was right. For them to be
absolutely.
Yes, because that's lies. That's fraud.
But then again, if the state board gave the test is a qualifying, defining factor that says we will license you because you understand what is you're responsible for. But these are the set of questions you need to answer, and these are the points you need to come up with. If this is true, and every nurse that went through, the one with the sleepless night, the ones without the sleepless night, and we all sat for the test, and some people passed the test, we're all going to the school. Now, if the board said, no, I'm going to disqualify you because you didn't go to the school and you passed the test, what does that say about the test?
No, let's stop right there, because there are people who, and I can tell you, my brother, he is one, especially if it is a multiple choice, he can take any test and he can pass it. Okay. Just from process of elimination.
If you could pass the test that easy, just go to school and do it the right way.
Exactly.
That's what it's supposed to do, but some people are just brilliant. They don't want to do it the hard way by going to the school.
If they're brilliant, they won't pay for it.
Right.
Yeah, and one thing, I don't know if the
specifics
Adam,
what do you say?
I think it cheapens the respect of our profession.
Yes.
We're one of the most trusted professions, or you're the most, currently. And when you allow things like that to go without consequences, you're diminishing the professional integrity of it.
And it's not fair to the ones that went to school.
Right. You
through the blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, the sleepless nights, the effort, and also the clinical hours. Doesn't reflect everything that you learn.
No.
And they're there for a reason. So
so now,
and the sad thing, these nurses, when they go in the field, they don't do well in the clinical because they never had clinical.
Yeah,
they got a license and they are passing it around with it.
That's the thing about nursing. When you go to get a job, you are trained. You go through the orientation process, so you learn on the job.
Yeah.
You
can know everything by the book, but that doesn't mean that you know what to do when you're
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Crashing or something.
And so you can go into a patient's room and the patient could tell you, hey, I don't know if are you qualified to be my nurse? Did you go to school? And so what do you say?
And you say yes. You say I went to this school. There's one you bought the degree from. You call them, honestly, you won't want to lose your job, so you clean them as they took your money. So now you have an understanding. I went to this school and I graduated from there. And once the person sees you and know that you got a RN behind your name, they suppose that you're already taking the test, because now for these people to hire you, they would have had to check your credentials, and your credentials are just fine.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think as far like the shortage of nurses, we can't lose sight of the fact that, you know, we still have to maintain standards, because without that, you don't really have any quality or consistency. So yeah.
But do you know when the COVID happened, do you know they were giving nurses conditional license?
They still have
to practice.
Really?
Okay, but I didn't pass the boards yet. I'm getting ready to pass the boards, and you're giving me a conditional license to go and work. But can I not kill somebody in the process?
No. Well, at least these people went through the classroom, the pathophysiology. Went through.
How sure are you some of these same people were not among the group?
Well, I mean, we're hoping that they did. They went through the clinicals, you know, the practical. So it's this was a life or death. You cannot compare that.
They were desperate. They were desperate.
Nurses. We have so many lives that were at stake here. So this situation where they give them provisional license, I can understand.
Yeah, desperate times, desperate measures.
Exactly.
Right.
So that desperate time, I call for that desperate measure that allow us to give provisional licenses just so people can be there to help other people work. Good. So now these people who actually went and took the test were all going to the schoolhouse. At least they have read about something, but they don't know the clinical aspect, because that part is not given to them. They'll just have to take the test and pass. And if you go to the test, in order to get that 85, you got to have done well in most of the guarantee aspect of nursing that is required to be able to pass that amount to go through the test.
But those people never took a test.
They took a test. They passed the boards now.
No, but they never took a test in the classroom.
No, that's the least of their worries. That's what they pay the money for. So they don't have to go to class. They don't have to. And I think about it, and it at first when I heard it, I was upset. I was upset for the mere fact that, wow, the way we suffer, people can just come and get this thing over with. Yeah. Oh my God, that was my first. I was upset by that, but then I thought about it for a long time. Like, okay, so what is the defining factor for nursing? Go past the NCLEX. And that is the reason why I think we should do nursing a whole different way. We always have to test students. And sometimes you have the best students who are not good test takers. But we fail them because they fail. But you can see them when they're in a practical setting. They are doing great. They are excelling, but yet and still we look at the points. We look at the test scores. We look at everything else to say, well, you pass to the next level or you're going to be graduating. Knowing that this student is a good student, but whatever it is, they're not just getting the points when they take the test. People who never went to the school can now come and take the test. So that just to tell you, learning is different. And you can't base all this on just because somebody have to take a test and it qualifies them for this position.
Right. That's just my thing. It's not just taking a test, but they went to the test. Taking the certification is the last part. It's the final part. Mm-hmm. But they sat in the classroom and learned, you know, how things happen, why things happen.
And some of them went to school for 6 months. How to critically
think
for 6 months.
How, you know, if a patient is crashing, what do you do?
Right. But I also think
they went to school though. They went for a limited time because all their classes were online.
They didn't go to school.
Some went. You remember the Florida program that they were saying, oh, in 9 months' time you can get your RN. In 9 months' time you can get your RN.
I'm talking about this one that we are talking about. That the people bought the diploma. They did not sit in the classroom.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that for anybody that would pay money to take the NCLEX without going to school, you're really robbing yourself of that character that you build while you're in nursing school.
Yes.
No, that's just to tell you they didn't want to be a nurse. They just want the money.
And that's
because that's the myth. The nurses make a lot of money. So I just want to be a nurse. So now everybody wants to go there until they start keeping you 12 hours on your feet and you get home. You can't sit down on your own butt and you can't walk. Then they say, oh, They think the money is just easy. The nurses just make it easy because we can take doubles. We can take a couple of doubles and work back to back and try to kill ourselves early.
Right.
So they don't understand everything else that comes. They don't understand when we get on the job, people's lives are in our hand. No, they don't think about that part, just the money.
And
Right.
of the profession to be called, I'm a nurse.
I'm a nurse.
Right.
Yeah, you have a lot of responsibility, like you said, the lives on the line.
Yes.
A lot of emotional, potentially baggage that comes with it. The physically demanding aspect.
Yep.
It's multifaceted, and there's a lot that goes into it. If you're going into it for the money, you're going in for the wrong reasons. Never gonna
but some are, they just go, and then it shows at the bedside.
Right.
Because they're just there to clock in and clock out.
Yeah, and that's the type of care that
what's going on. They cannot critically think. If you ask them, hey, what's going on with this disease process, all they know is the doctor say I should do this, so I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Anything the doctor said, they agree with the doctor. Never argue back.
Right.
All right. Well, time is far spent. We're going to allow you to give your closing argument, your closing statement, closing argument. I mean, mind you, I wanted to be a lawyer when I was younger.
Lawyers don't go to heaven.
My grandmother told me lawyers don't go to heaven. So
because she wants to go to heaven.
Everybody hates lawyers until you need one.
Yeah, I know.
Right. That's right.
That's so true. That's so true.
So Tobias, we'll start with you.
Any word you want to give out there to guys who are sitting on the fence yet deciding if they want to do nursing or if they should do nursing, and especially to the African men who we always think that they're sissy if they want to go be nurses.
Right. Well, my advice to them is just, if it's in you, it's in you. If it's not, choose something else. But we could definitely use more of us in the field. That's it.
And that is the truth. We can definitely, now we need all hands on deck.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Baby boomers are coming out. It's going to be serious.
Right.
Serious.
So Adam?
Yeah, like as Tobias said, I mean, you should be confident enough in your convictions and what you want to do. Do what it is your heart's telling you to do, no matter what, the society or your friends or peers' opinion might be, because that, you're doing it for yourself, not for others. Yes. But as far as being a male in a female-dominated career, the statistics are just increasing year after year. I think the latest was like around 14% of nurses now are men. I feel like a lot of what people have as an opinion of what nurses are, what they do, is come from the media or movies. It's not really representative of what nurses do. Physicians have their role, nurses have their role, and none of the healthcare system functions unless you're working together as a team. Also with EMTs, paramedics, aides, it's all parts of components of a bigger puzzle, and it all has to fit together for it to work and to benefit the patient. So be proud of what you're doing. It's a honorable career, one that you'd be really proud of to once you complete all the work and the effort. So just go for it. If it's something you want to do, just set your sights on it and get it.
Well, how often do male nurses get mistaken as the doctor when they're on a unit?
I've had that happen to me in shadowing and as a nurse, and I've heard from peers. I have no physicians and nurses and PAs as friends or colleagues, and that's something I hear often, is that the women are, a female doctor will walk in, they'll be referred to as nurse, or the male. I've had it happen to me. You walk in, like, oh, so you're the doctor? It's like, no, I'm the nurse, but just I think a matter of enough time passing and people coming to realize that the nursing role is not specific to just female. There's a lot to it, and it doesn't matter what you're saying.
So true. Well, we pray that we will get there when all our minds will be open and be really defined about it doesn't matter. Once somebody is capable and can meet up to the expectation, we should give him a fair shot. We will get there, but we're still struggling to get there. Because if people can still walk on a unit and look at a male personnel in uniform and just assume this person must be this because they're male, and this person must be that because they're female, we haven't really arrived yet, but we coming. The flight is still coming on. We're still taking passengers. So hopefully the word will really sink in, because as long as we are still in that mindset, it's easy to push people away. How often do I want to go to work and every day everybody come, and when they ask me, are you the doctor? I'm like, no, I'm the nurse. They kind of like turn away because that's not what they were looking for. That's not a good feeling. I want to be me and be who I am doing what I do.
Right.
You're in charge of their care too.
Yes, so. Yes, and sometimes when you get in the room, if you don't introduce yourself quickly as the nurse, the patient will be like, you the doctor? No, I'm your nurse. Oh, I thought you were the doctor. Yeah. What makes you think I'm the doctor? Do I look like a doctor?
I've been mistaken for a doctor before, but they had dementia, so so I did really.
That's a good one. Yeah, but I pray we will all get there someday, sometime soon. And continue to encourage those who want to be. I know I have talked to a person to become a nurse, not because he wanted to become a nurse, but his wife was a nurse. And I'm like, look, I know you're not really interested in nursing, but nursing is diverse. You just have to finish that RN level and you can branch out into any area you want. And this career is going to be here for a very long time. You will always have a job. And he listened, he went to nursing school, but he's still doing the things he wanted to do, but he's a nurse, And I've had another student who I taught finished the program, took the boards, passed the boards, everything, and decided at the end he don't want to be a nurse. I'm like, how come? He like, I don't know. It's just a female thing. He's from Haiti. He like, it's just a female thing. I'm like, so what you gonna do now? He said, I'll just keep the degree until one day when I need it, I'll go use it.
You just wasted some time.
Yeah, he's just wasting the time. Yeah. But I think he did it because of his family. His family wanted him to be a nurse, but he didn't want to be a nurse. So he just went
again, it's about like your peers or outside influence. You got to really look inside yourself and do what you want to do. But I'm glad you mentioned the diversity of the career, because one thing that when I was considering or making that decision was the fact that in nursing you have so many different avenues you can go down. When you get your license, you can progress to a doctorate, terminal degree in something like anesthesia. You can do operating, surgical, wound. There's so many options, and you can evolve throughout your career. It's a great career with many different avenues you can grow in. So that was a big factor for me choosing it.
And even if you never wanted to deal with patient care, there's a place you can go and nobody will ever have to see you, but you'll still be a nurse.
Yeah, that's the beauty of nursing. There's so many areas you can go. And I was talking to my girlfriend this afternoon, and there was a nurse that came to do hospice care. This nurse was 70 years old and she's still working. That's the beauty of nursing. You can work until you don't want to work any longer. Yeah. It's not a career that will tell you, oh, you're 65, so you have to retire. Yeah. No, so as long as you're correct upstairs, you can work as long as you want to, and you don't have to do only bedside nursing. You can go anywhere and do nursing. So, well, we just want to thank you for coming on today. Nursing is a career that is truly a calling. I tell people, don't go into nursing because of the prestige or because of the money you think you're going to make. Yes, it's a career that you can make a good living, but go into it because it is what you want to do, because you have that compassion. It is your passion, because it will show. Yep. So.
And you will get stressed if it's not yours.
Yes.
Right.
It is a stressful job.
Yep. It is.
school is stressful and the job is stressful, but we don't get paid enough.
So true.
But at least we can walk away fulfilled and pockets fat.
Yes.
Yes. And you can get a job,
yeah,
in a second. So
yeah. You quit one today, you go to the next one. Yeah. So we just be turning around each other. You meet it. Oh, you here too? Yes, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
So Adam, are you going to use your previous career, the IT sometime, or are you going to do it interchangeably?
Other than fixing my family and friends stuff for free, I'm glad that starting out in finance, I kind of ended up there reluctantly, just because I thought it was something I could, always use in my personal life. And there's actually a business owner. Towards the end of that, I started my own company, and technology. It all goes hand in hand, and I feel like everybody's path through life is different. Mine just took a longer course to get here, but I always relate to my experience and knowledge and bring it into nursing in some way, whether it's communicating with a patient, establishing a rapport. You bring little bits and pieces of everything you do throughout life with you, and the important things stick with you. So yeah, I don't regret any choices I've made, and like you said, with the passion, your calling, that was always there in the back of my mind. I couldn't fight that, and here I am. I'm so glad to finally have the opportunity and be at the point in my life where I can do what I've always wanted to do. So
yeah, that is so good. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on tonight and shedding the light on things that we thought was a myth, and now we all got the truth.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. That was great. I appreciate it. It was good seeing you all. Getting to know you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Night, guys.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.